Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yahna for those who are new here, and if you are not new here, welcome back. Before I get into the video, I want to say thank you to 1,000 subscribers. This happened in a very short period of time. I'm gonna be very honest. I appreciate you guys engaging and just asking questions and being in the comments and sharing your stories, giving tips and things like that. I really appreciate it. Thank y'all for being here. I just want to show y'all some love and say thank you to my subscribers. Also, if you join because of any art content or other content outside of hair, just know I have finally been able to have more time to create more videos, so they will be coming shortly. Let's get back to this hair video. If you watch my other video about this topic, I will leave the link to that video in the description box below. I would definitely recommend you watch that video before you watch this one. It's kind of like a prerequisite. Pause this one, check that out, and then come on back. Okay, so I have fine to medium hair, medium and low density in certain areas. Even though my hair appears fuller, if I was to take my hair and put it in a ponytail, my ponytail would actually, the circumference of my ponytail would not be very large because I don't have the highest density hair. Let me show you. As you can see, my fingers almost touch when it comes to the circumference of my ponytail. That shows I don't have the thickest hair in the world. However, I have managed to trick the eye to make my locks seem a lot fuller than what they actually are. I just want to give you guys some tips to make your locks appear fuller if you have medium to lower density hair. Here are 5 things that I did to make my locks look fuller with my medium to low density hair. Before you start your journey, definitely pay attention to your parting style. So there's a different type of parting styles for locks. You have the freeform style, you have box parting, you have the shell parting or the C parts, you have freeform parts or free parts. There's all different type of options that you have with the parting inside of your locks. However, some of them work a little bit better for what you're trying to achieve for fuller or thicker looking locks. So one thing when it comes to the parting, I would definitely recommend, speaking of parts, I would definitely recommend you try to stay away from the straight line brick parting. The reason why I say that is because to the trained human eye, we are able to see and identify a straight line. So when we see straight lines, we can easily know where the line starts and where the line ends. The downside to that is when it comes to locks and parting is that when you have these straight lines in your head, and our straight lines, of course, represent our scalp being exposed. When you have those straight lines inside of your head, it's easy for the human eye to pay attention to those straight lines. In hindsight, they're paying attention to your scalp. So when you have those straight big partings, people will notice your scalp a little bit more than when you have different parting styles, and that can make your hair seem a little bit more scalpy than what you would like. So what I would recommend is try to stay away from that brick parting, only because you want to be able to trick the human eye to not see as many parts as is actually inside of you. So what I did was I used the free parting. So with free parting, I kind of just parted my hair all over, honestly, and my parts are kind of like all over the place. As you can see, there's a zigzag part here. It works really well because I'm able to window my parts so that my locks will fall in between each other and they will never fall directly under each other. The downside about doing this parting method is that when it comes to rock and lock style, your parts are not going to be perfectly symmetrical, and that's okay. Chloe Bailey has free parts also, and we all know that she rocks her locks so beautifully, so neat, and always serves a look. Like I said before, I don't really style my hair very often. I usually kind of just rock my hair like this. So because of that, the parting, it didn't really matter for me. Tip number 2. Going on with parting, I would definitely recommend you having fuller locks. So fuller locks is meaning more locks on the top of your head. So I will always recommend anything above probably like 75 locks or 80 locks are going to do you pretty much justice. The reason why I say that is because the less locks you have on your head, the more opportunity you have for scalp to show, and the more sparse your locks could look if you have fine or medium density hair. So I would definitely recommend a little bit more locks for somebody. You don't have to go the micro lock phase or the micro lock route or anything like that, but I would say try to stick above like 75 locks. That would definitely give you a fuller look. Tip number 3. How you start your locks will also aid in how your starter locks look. Over time, if you're going to be retwisting, I'm going to be very honest. No matter if you start with braids, you start with coils, you start with 2-strand twists, if you're retwisting your hair to maintain it, over time, all of your hair is literally going to look the same. So the hair that I started with, honestly, I can still see the indent in some of my locks. I don't know if you guys can see this, but you see that indent? That is where my twist shrunk up to. So this is what my twists were when I started my locks. And this is all my hair that actually became locked throughout the phase from retwisting. So whether this part was braided, coiled, or whatever the method is, it was still going to turn out the same because you're retwisting. So when it comes to your starting phase and your starting method, just know that's more important for your starter lock phase of how you want to begin your journey. I definitely recommend is if you want to start off fuller with a fuller look, I would definitely recommend starting off with twists. However, not super tight twists. So when I did mine, I did kind of semi-loose twists. I'll leave the YouTuber's link who talks about her starting method, and she did this perfectly, but start off with looser twists. So when I mean looser twists is, instead of me starting off my lock and doing the twist super tight like this, what I did was I started and I kind of brought my hands down a little bit more to make the twist actually looser, and that helped me to have a fluffier look when it came to my starter lock phase. So it was kind of like having comb coils and having twists all in one, and it worked out beautifully for starting off with fluffier, fuller locks. Going on with the whole idea about compression, tip number 4. I would definitely recommend try to maintain that fluffiness. And the way that you maintain it is try not to compress your locks very much. The way that we typically compress our locks is through retwisting and palm rolling. When it comes to retwisting and palm rolling, I only retwist the roots of my hair. I do not palm roll throughout my lock. I never have. The reason why is because I already have 4C hair, and me continuously compressing and tightening my lock every single time I retwist it is not going to do me any favors when it comes to me trying to keep my hair as fluffy as possible. So definitely when it comes to retwisting, try not to palm roll all the way down. I have 4C hair, so my hair was going to tighten up and compress and have this type of look no matter what. I don't do anything to achieve this look. My hair just super kinky and 4C, so my hair is just going to tighten up regardless. So I didn't necessarily need to palm roll to get that effect. If you have a looser hair texture, that might be a little bit different for you. I would definitely recommend you consult with your loctician about that. I definitely recommend is when you retwist, only retwist the new growth at the root. Do not retwist all the way down. Along with retwisting is the amount of time that you retwist your hair. Since the very beginning, I retwisted my hair every 2 months. I literally do this every other month ever since I started my lock journey, and that would allow my hair and allow enough shed hair to come out, get into the lock, and then be able to form inside of the lock. So all in all, I was able to let more shed hair within that 2-month time frame release into my hair, so that when I retwisted it, I now have a little bit more hair inside of that section. So for me, retwisting a little bit less was definitely helpful in achieving a fuller look. Again, because I'm not compressing the hair, I'm not tightening the hair. I also am not putting as much stress on my roots, so that I'm trying to keep as much hair on my head as humanly possible. So I try not to manipulate it very much. So that all goes along with retwisting. Again, when it comes to retwisting, I would not recommend you do it every 4 weeks or even probably every 6 weeks. I would definitely say try to push, if you can, to that 8-week mark to retwist your hair. That will give you thicker, fuller locks. And tip number 5, my last tip is when it comes to styling your hair. So as I said before, you kind of want to stay away from styling your hair too much because you don't want to compress your hair. So when I was going through my starter lock phase, I did not really style my hair because I didn't want to compress my hair and tighten it up. Because think about it this way, whenever we got those faux locks and those bohemian locks, when you put your hair in those twists or braids and you wrap that hair around tightly on your hair and you compress it, whenever we took our hair out, hair that was inside of that faux lock was always super skinny, and your hair didn't fluff back up until you washed it and added some water to it. That's the same idea. You don't want to compress your hair tightly because our hair is locking constantly during that locking phase. We're not combing out our hair. So if you are stretching your hair and pulling it tight and pulling tension to it and then leaving it that way for weeks and sometimes a month on end, you are training your hair to lock in a stretched state. The issue is that with your hair stretched, it comes off as a little bit finer. So if you want thicker hair, try not to style your hair and put a whole bunch of stress on it. Personally, I didn't put my hair in any ponytails until my hair was long enough to fit inside ponytails. As I said before, when I styled my hair, the way I styled my hair within the first couple of years, I just changed my parting style. How I look with a middle part, different than how I look with my hair parted to the side. And how I have my hair parted to the right side, different than how I have my hair parted to the left. Again, changing your parting style can definitely be a styling option. And best believe, a part is a part of our identity. If you are a girl who rocks the middle part, putting your hair on the side definitely changes your whole face. Argue with your mammy. It changes it. I'm going to sneak in a 6th tip that I would recommend. Texture. Add texture to your hair. See, I do braid outs now more than I ever have, honestly, because my locks have matured a little bit more. However, I braid out my hair all the time. This is like a 4-day-old braid out, and honestly, the only way I braided my hair was putting my hair in 2 braids. You can do 2 cornrows, you can do 4 cornrows, you can do individual braids. The ones that give the least amount of tension on my hair are the 2 and 4 are the 4 cornrows. So I usually try to cornrow my hair down when I'm doing a braid out, but doing that will add a little bit of volume to your hair and make your hair appear a little bit fuller. And having texture to your hair is going to make your hair a little bit bigger, a little bit fuller, and it's going to trick the trained eye. So that's it. That's all I've done, and that's all I do to my hair to make it give a little bit of more of that voluminous look. If you guys have any suggestions, please put those in the comments. Thank you guys for joining, and I will see you in the next video.